Well, welcome to this midweek moment as we pause and think together about things of faith. Normally, I start out talking about where we are in the life of the church relative to returning to worship. And then we talk about a faith moment, some lens of the biblical story that gives us a way to make meaning. We'll flip that over today and want to start at the beginning of the covenant that God makes with Abram and Sarah. It's the Genesis story, beginning in chapter 12 and carries us through. It is where God says to Abram, I need you, want to make you father to a great nation. Descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, land to call your own, and through you I want to bless other people. And then came the invitation, I need you to go to a land that I will show you. And so the beginning of our story with God, our covenant life with God, began with God's promise, I will be God to you forever. I have a purpose for you, to use you, to multiply you, to ground you, and through you to bless others. And then comes the invitation. I need you to go to a place that I will show you. And with great faith, Abram and Sarai left everything they knew and set off to a place that God would show them. Have you ever noticed how many stories in Scripture are about a journey? The whole covenant of humankind with God for Christian people begins, Jewish people begins in this journey motif, this I will be with you, and here's the journey ahead, though you won't know exactly where it leads. We follow the story, of course, through Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebekah and Jacob and Rachel and Leah, and then on to Joseph. And then on the other side of that, then there's the story of Moses, who, of course, is the one who God asked to lead the people to the promised land. But it too involves a journey where Moses doesn't exactly know where or how it will be, only that God will be with them as a clouds by day and fire by night. And it's a journey through the wilderness. Now, we could continue to follow Genesis and Exodus. Those are the stories of those two books. But we could follow that same storyline through all of our sacred story, because it's about a God who calls. It is about a God who wants to bless. It is about a God who wants, through God's people, to bless others. This church, Bethel United Methodist Church, was founded and placed on this corner in 1797. Land to call your own, descendants to come after you, and through you others will be blessed. That's sort of Bethel's story too. And for over 200 years, God has been using the family of Bethel United Methodist Church to raise up new generations of Christian people, to be accompanied by God through all our days, and through this faith family to bless others. But we're in a bit of a wilderness right now. That's just where we are. We are a church that wants to be back in this sacred space. Except since mid-March, God has called us to leave the building, but to still be people of faith and to still bless others. We have worked hard, particularly the trustees, to respond to the broken HVAC system that went out at the end of April. and then through the course of May, June, July, and August, have worked the process necessary in the United Methodist Church to secure, order, and have delivered and installed the new HVAC system. So it's cool in the sanctuary again. And so we all are leaning in towards, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And we're not quite there yet. The leadership of the church council, had a called meeting last night. You'll hear details about this in an e-blast that is going out today. It'll be in your bulletin on Sunday. But last night there was a church council meeting that had been called to hear the recommendation that came from our board of trustees about the next steps to returning to on-site and in-person worship. In the last month or so, there has been an ad hoc medical advisory committee that, given that we are right at the edge of the medical district, so fortunate to have so many professional medical people as part of our faith family, it seemed wise to me to solicit input from across several disciplines, those who were seeing this coronavirus and its related impact on the Charleston area, to be an advisor of sorts to me as I seek to lead faithfully, and to trustees and to worship as they seek to lead faithfully. Well, the trustees did bring the recommendation last night to the church council, and they recommended that we would follow the recommendation of the medical advisory committee. The medical advisory committee feels that, offered it simply as advisory, to which the trustees endorse, that we delay our return to in-person, on-site worship until 2 weeks, until this can be reevaluated, how the Labor Day weekend and the return to school, both at universities, colleges, and in lower grades, impacts the spread or spike of coronavirus. So as they met on Sunday, their recommendation is, let's pause 2 weeks. Let's see what a spike after Labor Day brings about or doesn't. Let's see what a spike of returning to school or colleges bring about or doesn't. And then on the 20th, let us take a look at the facts and make our decision about returning. So that came forward as the recommendation of trustees last night, that we pause, delay from Sunday the 6th until Sunday the 20th, till we can see the real numbers, the real reality of what is going on with the coronavirus in our given area. So the church council heard, discussed at length, pros and cons of this. As you might imagine, in most anything that has heart and passion to it, there are people who believe one way and people who believe another, and some who can see both sides and can kind of hold their way in the middle. But at the end of the night, at the end of the meeting last night, by a vote of 18-8, church council decided to support the recommendation of trustees, which was to follow the recommendation of our medical advisory team. So we will pause. You can call it a wilderness. You can call it we don't feel like we're home yet. That we are on a journey. This is the way of God's people, but we're not alone. God is with us. And 2 weeks from now, there'll be another called church conference. The medical advisory team will meet. The called church council. Did I say church conference? Good. It's meant to be church council. The called church council, along with the medical advisory team, will convene together on the 20th to assess where we are and to provide some clarity as the council once again will make a decision about whether we return quickly or whether we return slowly. But the end goal is return. In light of that, this Sunday morning at 11:15, though we can't fully be present sitting in here for on-site worship, we will gather once more on the steps of the church portico for anyone who would like to gather. We'll celebrate with the great Thanksgiving and lift the cup and break the bread. And then, as many of you experienced on Sunday afternoon, we will make our way in the church down one aisle, receive bread and wine from the pastors, and return up the next aisle and out the side door. It is not the same as being all together in here in one place, but it is a step towards that day. So we will have online live stream at 9 o'clock and 11:15, same as always, or same as always recently. And then for those who will be watching live stream from the comfort of their home, others are free to gather here with our church staff on the front steps of the church at 11:15, where we share briefly in this meal that we call Holy, and receive bread and wine and the gift of being in community in a different way in this very different time. So I don't know what Moses always said to the people. I know they grumbled some at him, but I imagine that he had to say along the way, hey, let's just stick together. We're going to make it. We're going to get to where God is calling us to be. So, like, grab the hand, lock your arms, stay close to each other. We are following God, and God has promised to be God to us forever, and on that we depend. So, let's stick together, Bethel Faith family and friends, and I hope to see you on Sunday, either via live stream or on the steps of the church at 9 or 11:15, live stream, 11:15, steps of the church. Know of God's love and mine.